In the previous episode, we talked about why recovery techniques are important and that they are fundamental building blocks of resilience. In this episode, we look into knowing about and creating your values and boundaries to create more space for what is truly important to you and your venture. In his book, Lost Connections, Johann Hari writes the following on behalf of Tim Kasser, a young psychology professor. Picture all the values that guide you in life as being like a pie. Each value you have is like a slice of that pie. So you've got your business slice and your family slice and your money slice and your me time slice. And the bigger one slice grows, the smaller the others have to get. When we become consumed with our business, that slice gets bigger. When we become fixated on having more customers or employees, the parts of that pie we care about, for example, attending to our relationships or finding time to relax and recover, they have to shrink to make way. On Friday at 4 o'clock, we can stay at the office and work more, or we can go home and play with our kids, or go to the gym and exercise, or just sit with a book and a glass of wine. But we can't do both. It's one or the other. You remember from episode 1 that our resources and the demand for our resources should match each other. And when they don't, we feel distressed. So the question is, does our work distress slice match our recovery slice? Or does the latter give way to the former? And why make a point about mental and physical recovery? Because we can't separate the mind from the body. When we experience stress, that stress isn't just in our head. It will be in our whole body. Our heart rate goes up, our nervous system fires up all kinds of impulses, and our adrenal glands will be pumping adrenaline and cortisol so that we can escape or fight back. So our body will be in a different state physiologically every time we are stressed in order to help us fight or escape. In the short term, our stress helps us fire up, but in the long term, the stress hormones deplete our body and suppress our immune system. And here is what we think is really important. If you don't know when to say no, your body says it for you. If you don't take time to pause and recover, your body does it for you. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you to stand up and sit down 2 or 3 times. Done? Perfect. This is a simple recharge technique. Changing the current state helps us refresh both our body and mind. Sitting and standing a very few times is powerful and yet effective as a short-term recovery technique. Now, take a piece of paper and a pen, or if you dedicated a diary to this course, please bring it over. Right, back to where we were. As you learn about your resources and recovery, take a moment to create an identity cloud in your notebook. Include at least 5 ways in which you identify yourself. This is for your eyes only, like this. Now imagine you are talking to the most confident person in the world. You are going to explain to them for 1 minute the answer to each of the following questions. 1. With which descriptors do you identify most strongly? Why is that? 2. With which descriptors do others identify you most strongly? And how do you feel about that? 3. Describe a time when one of the elements of your identity appeared to work to your advantage, either in your professional experience or in other areas of your life. And 4. Describe a time when one of the elements of your identity appeared to hold you back, either in your professional experience or in other areas of your life. Now I want you to answer this one last question. Who are you? But here's the catch. In your answers, do not mention any titles you have, formal, professional, or others like mother or son. Do not mention anything you do, like job responsibilities or hobbies, or anything that may indicate your socio-economic status. How do you feel? In our experience, people often are very surprised by their answers. They often realise that their favourite identity isn't the one they most put up. And then they realise why they are stressed or unhappy, because what they do isn't aligned with their favourite identity. And they start to change. They often start to say no to more things and create clearer boundaries for others so that they better protect their resources. We are hoping that answering the above questions has made you too think directly about your identities and values they are based on, and indirectly about whether you spend your resources according to your values, or rather, do you spend them according to the demands around you? We will come back to this question in the next episode. See you in the next episode.